Okay, let's start. Good evening and
Good
hello
evening.
and welcome to everyone. I hope you're all fine. It's good to see quite a few people in the audience, a few people that I've recognised in the audience. Hello Valentina, good to see you again. Hello Judith and the ever-present Mike Deveria. But I think we might as well just start the meeting. This is our spring meeting, general meeting. For those of you who aren't familiar with ESBA's general assemblies, they're an opportunity, a chance to catch up, to update, and to tell people things about what they're doing. We do have an agenda. I think it perhaps is best, without further ado, to just crack on and just start the meeting. Yes, because time, I know that there is a lot on the agenda. So, what's top of the agenda, Herbert?
It's here's the program in detail. So new ESPA members, we will introduce, or Pro Clima will introduce him or herself. Then we have the introduction of the Latin American network. We talk about the analysis and workarounds for building class 1 to 4 and all the necessary certificates. We have reports from member countries, then an update from the action group Ukraine, and reports from associate members if there are some. So I would say we start with Pro Clima and your introduction, and you can share the screen if you want.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank
Herbert.
you. I would like to share maybe this screen. Yes. I hope everyone can see my screen now.
Yep.
Perfect. So, yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Dragoș Arnautu. I'm an architect, and I'm currently active here at Pro Clima as a technical export manager. And together with my colleague Lisa Wegner, we are going to tell you a little bit of interesting facts about Pro Clima. Since we are in the building industry, in the building sector, I guess some of you, if not all of you, have stumbled upon the name. It has been established for some time, and my task today is to show you a glimpse of Pro Clima that you have not seen before, and try to argument why we believe this collaboration would be ideal and benefic for everyone. Tell me with whom you associate, and I will tell you who you are. Well, I find this saying deeply powerful because it reminds us of something essential. The relationships we choose are never neutral. They reveal what we stand for. They reveal what we believe deserves our energy every day, our trust and our commitment. And I would go even one step further. If we truly want to understand a person, a company, or an organization, we should not look only at where they stand today. We should look at their journey. We should look at the path they have taken, the questions they have cared enough to pursue, the challenges they have chosen not to avoid, and the values they have translated into action over time. So, because this journey matters, they show us not only where someone has been, but also where they are going towards. They really reveal whether progress is accidental or intentional, whether innovation is opportunistic or rooted in a conviction. So today I would like to briefly share the journey of Pro Clima because I believe that this journey shows what has shaped us as a company, what drives us, and why being in dialogue with European Straw Building Association feels not only relevant but somehow natural. And perhaps this is the strongest sign of it all. When two paths shaped independently by conviction and purpose begin to point towards the same horizon. So we are finding a lot of synergies. Let's go in this little journey together. I like to call it the news bulletin. So in 1979, Lothar Moll lays the foundation for the journey by establishing the world's first building biology specialist supplier at the family Moll sawmill. It was a long time ago, as the pictures can show. In 1981, the company is officially founded under the name Biologische Insel Naturgemäße Baumaterialien, Gartenbedarf und Ernährung. I would translate this for you. It was biological island, natural building materials, garden supplies, and nutrition. So we already see the interest that Lothar had from the early on. In the 1984, the Biologische Insel is published. It is a manifesto, a guide to using ecological building materials, and in many ways, the forerunner of today's Pro Clima Wissen, which you will find out more about. It is our planning handbook. In 1987, Lothar Moll develops the first vapor retarder known as the BI Naturdampfbremspappe and used as airtightness layer in buildings. It was made out of paper, as you can see here. In 1989, a publication by the Fraunhofer Institute changes the orientation of the German market by publishing and confirming what Pro Clima had already recognized, that airtightness is essential in insulated constructions. So in energy efficient buildings, which are now a standard in the European market and not only. In 1991, the story goes even further, and Lothar Moll develops the DB+, a vapor retarder with an innovative feature. It had an intelligent diffusion adaptation. So practically, it was the first vapor diffusion membrane made out of paper invented by Lothar Moll. In 1993, together, Lothar Moll and Uwe Bartholomei create the name and logo for the Pro Clima brand. In 1994, Pro Clima is presented to the public for the first time at the Ecological Building Trade Fair in Mannheim. As the picture on the right-hand side shows, it was early times, right? In the same year, Pro Clima commissions the Fraunhofer Institute for Building Physics, led by Dr. Hartwig Künzel, to carry out a building physics assessment of an insulation system using the Pro Clima DB+. In 1995, the Fraunhofer Institute's finding show that Pro Clima DB+ has a moisture variable diffusion resistance, something completely new at the time and unique worldwide. So Lothar Moll actually invented the variable diffusion technology, which laid the groundwork for an entire industry. In 2004, at the BAU Munich, Pro Clima officially introduces Intello, its high-performance variable diffusion membrane, setting new benchmarks with performance far beyond any other variable vapor retarder. In 2009, fast forward, the Solitex Mento is released, and with it, a completely new generation of diffusion open roofing underlaying membranes, with enhanced UV protection. So slowly but surely, the portfolio grows with products that were highly requested by the market. In the same year, the first Pro Clima Wissen handbook manual is published and soon becomes known in the industry as the Airtightness Bible. There was everything detailed and clear. The story goes on, and in 2012, Pro Clima succeeds in helping to change the building legislation in New Zealand. Until then, vapor retarder and vapor barrier membranes had been prohibited. Now they become part of the official regulations. And in the same year, Intello is named the best it has won the Stiftung Warentest prize, which is one of the highest recognitions in the German market. So with all these products and with this solution that has started to shape, it was time to actually tell the story and introduce it to the people. Therefore, in 2013, the first cross-trade specialist training course for roof renovation from the outside, Dachpraxis, takes place. Since then, many iterations have taken place under different names, but every year we try to disseminate as much as possible. In 2015, the innovative infotainment format Bauslam is launched in Schwetzingen, sharing expert knowledge in a very entertaining and easy to follow 10-minute sessions. In 2020, encouraged by the Corona times, Pro Clima builds the Pro Clima TV studio and places an even stronger focus on digital knowledge sharing. And in 2023, the new Resonance Raum, which is a seminar center here in Schwetzingen, opens its doors. And what we see here is a consistent interest and openness in communication with everybody. 40 years later, we see that from simple building paper to high-performance vapor retarders, Pro Clima has always been thinking ahead. What started with the vision of airtight construction became an extraordinary journey of innovation, all focused on making the building envelope safer and more reliable. While these ideas were initially met with skepticism and criticism, today they are firmly established as a state-of-the-art. They helped shape the market, and some even have become part of legislation. Today, Pro Clima is a medium-sized company headquartered in Schwetzingen near Heidelberg with around 180 employees. Our main brand, Pro Clima, is widely known for innovative systems for airtightness, wind tightness, and weather protection in building envelope. Mollbau Ökologische Produkte GmbH, the mother company, is active in more than 45 countries worldwide, with companies also in France, Switzerland, Australia, and New Zealand. This means more than 4 decades of experience in developing and producing airtightness and wind tightness systems. Therefore, it is not just a product portfolio, but also long-term practical knowledge gathered across many climates, markets, and construction cultures. At Pro Clima, people are at the center of everything we do. Our aim is not only to sell products, but to help move building culture forward. We do this by working together with partners across the sector, craft trades, dealers, architects, planners, everyone. We believe that real progress comes through horizontal and vertical networking, through dialogue, and through shared learning. And of course, at the heart of it all is the goal of achieving the highest effectiveness for the thermal insulation in building performance. You know the slogan, Pro Clima, and the insulation is perfect. So it's all in the slogan. I would like to go and share a little bit of our solutions with everyone. This slide shows an important aspect of our approach, which is we do not think in isolated products, but in systems. A reliable building envelope depends on the interaction of membranes, tapes, joint adhesives, liquid sealants, and detailing products. The strength of the Pro Clima portfolio lies in the fact that these components are designed to work together as one coherent solution, the so-called min-max, the minimum number of products for the maximum outcome. One of the core strengths of our range are the intelligent membranes. On the interior side, these include humidity variable, high performance vapor control, and airtight membranes for dependable internal sealing. And on the exterior side, roofing underlays and breather membranes, which actively support moisture transport and help provide permanent reliable sealing for roofs and walls. Another central part of the system is the bonding performance. Our special adhesives and tapes are designed to be weather resistant and highly durable. A particularly strong message here is the independently tested and confirmed 100 years of adhesive strength, which is unique worldwide. For us, this is not simply a marketing point, it reflects a long-term view of building quality. If we want durable construction, then the connections and joints must be just as dependable as the materials they connect. The German saying, wenn schon, denn schon, applies here as well. Of course, in a construction, performance is often won or lost in the details. That is why detailed construction, such as seal grommets, are so important. Pipes, cables, and penetrations are often weak points in the airtight layer, and these are exactly the areas where robust, easy to apply detailed products make a real difference. We have them as well, and I think most of you have used them. What also defines Pro Clima is that we do not stop at supplying products. We offer consulting and support for building physics questions, as well as component testing and evaluation. And importantly, this support is provided free of charge. That says something about how we see our role, not merely as a supplier, but as a technical partner. We want to help our partners make good decisions and solve real construction challenges. This support continues into practical implementation because it includes component testing, on-site support from our expert field sales team, and training seminars in both theory and practice. In other words, our service model is built around helping good planning become good execution. This next section focuses specifically on sustainability at Pro Clima. For us, sustainability is not an added layer or a separate communication theme. It is increasingly integrated into product development, material choice, and the way we think about long-term construction quality. So this slide actually illustrates an important principle. Airtight construction alone is not enough. If buildings become more airtight, but the interior materials are not carefully selected, emissions can remain trapped indoors. I do not have to preach to the choir here because we are in the framework of the European Straw Building Association, and we know how important interior emissions are and how harmful the volatile organic compounds are, because here we are orientating ourselves towards more natural products. In this way, energy efficiency, durability, and occupant health are not treated as separate goals, but as part of one coherent building concept. Another important area is transparency. The EPD verification helps make environmental impacts more measurable and more comparable. For us, this is part of building credibility and supporting better informed decisions in the market. Pro Clima has calculated a range of EPDs for most of its product segments. We are working on many more, and this also reflects a broader shift in construction. Increasingly, it is not enough for products simply to perform well technically. They must also be transparent in terms of environmental impact. This slide shows a concrete example of how sustainability enters at the product level. The Intello with 50% recycled content in the non-woven layer. The broader message is that material innovation is moving not only towards performance, but also towards more responsible resource use. Another example, which is very relevant in this context, it is the DB+, which uses 100% recycled paper. This again underlines the effort to rethink products through the lens of circularity and resource efficiency. What matters here is not only the percentage itself, but the direction it represents. This idea extends even to smaller components. Here the focus is on cartridges made from 100% recycled plastics. I think this is important because it shows that efforts are being made across the system, not only in the main product layers. At this point, and I'm closing a little bit towards the end, I would like to briefly shift towards one fresh example of innovation. Innovation is usually very practical here at Pro Clima. It is driven by real on-site challenges, by the need for easier execution, greater reliability, and better integration into modern construction. So this is also where our dialogue with sectors such as the straw construction becomes especially interesting. The Adero Senses is in its final testing phase, and it will be used as a membrane with moisture sensing for early detection of moisture in floor constructions. For example, in kitchens, bathrooms, with underfloor heating, etc. And as temporary weather protection for floor slabs during the construction phase as well. So Adero Senses is vapor open and airtight. What is important here is not only the product itself, but the philosophy behind it, to create solutions that make buildings safer and more consistent in practice. And there are other new and exciting solutions to real-life construction site struggles, which we are working on, but today's short format presentation does not allow for it. To conclude, I would come back to the thought from the beginning. If we want to understand who someone is, we should look at their journey. In the case of Pro Clima, that journey shows a long-standing commitment to healthier construction, practical innovation, technical reliability, ecological responsibility, and knowledge sharing. And that is exactly why this dialogue with the European Straw Building Association feels so natural to us. We see strong common ground in values and in the desire to contribute to a more sustainable building culture. I therefore would like to thank you for bearing with me, for listening to this wealth of information in such a fast pace. And we are actually very excited to hear your feedback and to answer any possible questions you might have.
Thank you, Dragos. That was brilliant. Thank you. Herbert, what's the next step? What's the next step in this process?
Yeah. There was a question from Alexios.
No, I was just clapping.
Hey, you were
for
clapping.
The presentation. Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you. Are there any questions? Yeah, Yo-Yo, please.
Test the 100 years gluing guarantee of the Tescon Varna?
We did that through accelerated degrading in laboratories to find out how much it will resist under extreme conditions. So we didn't do it personally. It was an independent third-party laboratory that did this test. We did them as well because we wanted, on one hand, to make sure before we even actually try to engage somebody else to do it. So it is truly a revolutionary outcome, and we are very proud and happy about it.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, can I ask, is Pro Clima doing any work or anything established in Ukraine?
Maybe I can answer this question. We have a good contact in the Ukraine, and we're still in contact, but we haven't realized any project yet, as our contact tourists from the Ukraine had some difficulties, but so we are in interaction, and I was excited because I saw that's one of the agenda points, how the ESBA activities looks like here.
Okay, I wonder if you could PM me any information you've got on what you're doing or who your contacts are in Ukraine, and see if we can work together.
Yeah, sure.
Thank
That's Andre. The second name is difficult to pronounce for me, but of course we can share it.
Thank you.
And Mike, to add a little bit to the context, we are quite active in the neighboring countries, and I know that they are already planning for the rebuild phase of Ukraine. So we are also waiting. We are eager to contribute, to be present as well, and offer our solutions. So
the rebuild phase is ongoing.
It is in some instances, yes. I can totally understand this, but so far, directly to Pro Clima, without apart from that main contact that we are having, we are not aware of much.
Let's see what we can do.
Yo-yo.
One more question, and I have to say I'm really grateful that you guys are here because I really like the Pro Clima products. But I also have to say that the beauty of strawberry building is that through clay plaster we need less of the fabrics and the interlocks, but still they are nice. But I was mainly wondering about the tapes because we still use a lot of tapes on the windows to get the windows airtightly connected and then over plaster them. So I was trying to solve this and to also make it 100% natural. And with other people who also did this already, who we used some linen fabric, very fine one, very thin. And then we either used a clay rye glue or we used a lime casein glue. And we got really, in the testings that I did, we got really amazing results. And now I was really interested if you guys would also be interested to research, maybe together even, in this direction to have 100% natural organic tapes, let's say, that are actually even easier to install because when you install them, it's still liquid and you can move them around and make them tight. And with the tapes, as you know, you have to get into practice a little bit to tape them correctly. So is there any interest in your company?
I would say there is a direct interest here, and we see actually two directions in which in which people are normally going, either to scale up, make it faster, more reliable, more under control in the factories. We see this in examples like Eco Cocoon, who have a streamlined process and want to deliver a high quality product in a larger scale. And we see also the purists that are interested in the complete natural solutions. And as you see, our range of products tries to expand in both directions because we find importance in both worlds, so to say, and we are totally open and interested in pursuing this. Why not? This is why we are here, to start this dialogue and continue it in a constructive manner.
Thank you. Last question, Valentina.
Fantastic, super emotional to see you here. Fantastic, the ESBA connection. One question, I don't know if you have more data about the vapor diffusion in air conditioning situation.
So,
I think all the membrane, no, within with air conditioning have different. It's not so easy. I couldn't find a special detail or data, reliable data about the case of the problem with air conditioning, not heating or cold. That is the case in Spain or Southern Europe.
By problems, you mean the connection between exterior and interior and exterior of the AC unit, or by what the AC unit actually changes in the interior environment?
You can have condensation on the interior side.
With cooling systems, yeah, in Mediterranean.
You can have condensation on the reverse. So the whole system works on the reverse case. So you have the interior acting as an exterior in a way. If you protect for the winter condition of condensation, then you can increase the damage, the possible damage for the summer condensation due to air conditioning.
Maybe, Dragos, I can say something to this.
Yes, because
yeah. Hi, I didn't introduce me. I'm Lüder. I'm the CEO from Pro Clima, and I have made tons of simulation with air conditioning on the inside, especially to avoid the problem of the summer condensation on the inside of the air tightness membrane. This is a problem we find a lot when we have very hot and humid climates outside, and we cool it down on the inside very to low temperatures. We have on the outside breathable construction, on the inside an air tightness layer, and especially in this situation it is optimal to have on the inside this intelligent membranes, because they react on this high humidity level before it condensates on the inside, and then they allow it drying to the inside, and they make the whole component in this critical climates clearly safer. But to be sure that it's really working, you have to take a look in detail where you are building. When you go to constructions like in Malaysia, where you have the whole year diffusion from the outside to the inside, you need to plan completely different and put more diffusion inhibiting materials to the outside and work on the inside, maybe breathable or with the Intello membrane, which allows the drying to the inside. But it's a very technical question, which is not easy to answer in just 1 to 2 sentences. But the products we deliver are used in South Korea, in the south of Japan and Taiwan, where we have all this climate conditions, and there we achieved very safe and dry constructions.
Valentina, could you put your email address in the chat, if that's okay with you? And then maybe Jens or Dragos can continue this conversation at another stage. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah, Valentina, if you can do that.
If possible, the address from Yo-Yo as well, because we are here to learn, we are here to support each other, and so I like the idea. And yeah, let's stay in contact. You're coming from which country, Yo-Yo?
I'm from the south of Germany and right now living in Austria.
Then it makes easier with the communication. Good. And then I think it was John with the question from Ukraine. It was not, who was it?
Mike. It was Mike.
Mike, okay.
Mike.
And maybe Mike put his email address as well in, and then Dragos will come back to you.
Excellent.
And maybe one addition from my side, I just share in the chat the worldwide-support@proclima.com. So we are a small team, including me, Dragos, and our export team. So please feel free to get in touch with us, also for technical questions, whatever. Yeah, and we're looking forward to exchange and get to know each other in the future.
Thank you, Lisa. So next
topic is the Latino American network, and the question is if Valentina or Ricky or anybody else wants to say some words or introduce this network and the idea.
I know who's in the network. I don't see them here. I don't know if they're here. So I can't really say. I'm not in South America, so I don't have I'm not a member of this network. They just informed us of their existence. That's strange if nobody from the network there has come. Do you know anything more, Britta or Valentina? I did just take advantage to say that Britta is the new vice president of the Spanish straw building network, and Valentina is the new president, just so you know.
Oh.
Hello, everybody.
I can't say anything about the South American network because I expected them to be here.
I'm going to send her a message just in case.
Yeah, I can send a message while the meeting's going on and see if they forgot or something. Okay?
Otherwise, we make the introduction next time in the next meeting. You have the link in the newsletter. So there is an Instagram, I think, Instagram page. Yeah. Red Lat Construction Pacha. You find the link in the newsletter, yeah? And as you are all here, then most probably you all got the newsletter. And we go on to the next topic, which is certificates and workarounds for building class 1 to 4. And this is my part, so... And I will share the screen. And for the introduction, I want to say I would like the help of any architects here or any experts who know more. So interrupt me, please, if you think that something is wrong. This is a work in progress stuff, and it's about scaling straw. So when we want to build not just one family houses or maybe two family houses in building what is in Germany or Austria, building class 1 or 2 or 3. So if we want to go in multifamily housing, row housing, building class 4, for example, up to 13 meter, then we need a lot of different certificates and proofs that straw bale building is according to the national building law. So what we did is in the step training in Portugal was a group work this year. What we did is to analyze what do we have and what do we need for as certificates and proofs that we can build also in higher building classes. So building classes, to get an overview about that, we have it's a similar system in each country. So this GK1 means Gebäudeklasse, and in English it's just building class. And what we need here for a single family house, these are usually the houses we build, which we need R30 or F30, so 30 minutes fire resistance. These are freestanding buildings with escape level of 7 meters, 1 or 2 units, so can be also 2 families living in this house, and it's not more than 400 square meter. Building class 2 means that we still have the intermediate and outer walls fire resistance of 30 necessary. On the facade, it's a bit more from outside to inside. We need to be R90, and at the moment, at least, we don't have this certificate because it is no more available, or it was not prolonged from FASPA. So I think that most of the countries used in the past the 90 minutes fire resistance certificate from FASPA, which is not available, and I will show you some workarounds, or will try to find some workarounds. So building class 2 is mainly not freestanding buildings. It's the same level of 7 meters. 1 or 2 families live in that, and it's less than 400 square meter. This is a bit different. So in some other countries, you might not have these building classes, but you have the same limitations for example, these row houses. Building class 3 is a row house where you have a fire-safe wall in between to the neighbor, and the difference here is you have more than 400 square meters. So otherwise, building class 2 and building class 3 is the same. It's limited again. Escape level 7 meters. Escape level, for those who don't know, means this is the level of the last floor of the building yeah. And then it's about building class 4. This is the topic we are most interested in. And we need fire resistance of 60 minutes, which we don't have at the moment, or encapsulation class 260 or 260, and this ceiling will always be R90 or right 90. So this is just a cellar ceiling if there is a cellar, and yeah, it's about that. This is the there's a special mechanical Beanspruchung or so this has to be proved that also if a beam falls down, this can resist this level. And units less than 400 square meters also leveled for this 400 square meter. So building class 5 is not really interesting for us because we need special conditions for these buildings. There are some buildings made higher than this 13 meter, but we focus on building class 1 and up to 4. So when I look at the Austrian building law, then you have here the green or blue, which we fulfill. So for load-bearing elements in a house, excluding ceilings and fire compartment walls, we need usually R30 or I30, R30 in this case. Everything which is above ground is usually up to building class 30. We fulfill this. Building class 3, the floors would have to be 60. This is, I think, easy to achieve. Is even in building class 4 because we can use wood in a certain dimension for that, for example, a CLT ceiling or something like that. Partition walls up to building class 3 are possible to do that. Here in the top floor, in above ground stories, here in building class 3, we are already limited, and so on. And then we have the ceilings are not, ceilings might be interesting, but roofs are more interesting. So we go on and look at, this is the German one. I will leave this in the presentation, and you can all download the presentation afterwards. I will send you the link just that you understand. So when we talk about the building classes of materials, this is the big issue where we are limited. So usually normal flammable means class E now. It was former class B or B2 and B. This would be B1, yeah, class D. So we don't fulfill, and no natural material fulfills this building class D. And this is a problem for any house in except single or double family houses up to 7 meter because we don't fulfill D. So wood, for example, and hemp insulation because it's made by Capatec, so the Naporo hemp insulation, and EPS, XPS, and PUR are usually proved as or tested in class E, but accepted in class D. So this is why you can build with a hemp insulation on a facade. You can build with styrofoam in the roof, but you wouldn't be able to use any other material, any other natural material in building class 2, 3, or 4. So the workarounds. This is the same in German, that you understand that when you relook. So if I have this overview, and this is a bit confusing, you might find this is again from the German building code classifications. So here we are in a single family house and we fulfill everything here because the cellar ceiling, which would need 60 minutes fire resistance, is usually made of concrete or something like that. It's foundation part, and we usually start 30 centimeter above ground. But when we go higher, so building class 2, 3 are houses which we can fulfill mainly with the 30 or partly with 60 minutes fire resistance. But building class 4, if we want to go over 7 meters, then we need whether R90 fire safety, a certificate which we don't have at the moment, or we need a workaround. So for a facade, for example, we also need, when we do wrapping, we need non-combustible claddings, R90, for a firewall as a separation wall between in a row housing to the neighbor house, for example, we need R60. Besides that, staircases is not really a problem, and fire-rated installation shafts, so whatever is installation has to be usually fire resistant. So one way of workaround is if we use optimized density, so up to 100 kilogram per cubic meter straw bales, we have increased plaster thickness, which is R90 proof. So can be, for example, 30 millimeter clay plaster inside, 25 millimeter lime render outside. Then we have this sort of validation for F90. In the NZNB in Germany, it was about 7 centimeter lime render made for this building class 4 building, which was higher than this 7 meters. Another stuff which is necessary as a prerequisite is perfect airtight detailing, so airtight connections and no hidden chimney effects, that the fire on the facade cannot spread. Yeah, and there are two possibilities to prove that. We know that in case of a fire, usually wood and straw acts similar. It builds a char layer and is verkohlt to Deutsch, and this builds the insulation against the fire. So we know that we reach this 90 minutes, but at the moment we don't have this. Some like some prefab companies like EcoGogon have R90 or I90 or even R120 minutes. But for the rest of the straw bale builders who build with self-made modules or with straw bales on site in a wooden frame construction or in load-bearing building, we don't have this certificate anymore. So one way to work around is this BS1D0 certificate. Now, this is available from EcoCon as well as from FASPA. And as far as I know, and this has to be verified, it is not, it is still valid. Does anybody who is connected to FASPA know about this BS1D0 hardly flammable certificate from FASPA? It was made 2009. No one? Okay, interesting. So there's I will go to the just to take that. So there is a single burning item test. Oops. Made by FASPA in 2009, as far as I know, and the classification of the fire was BS1D0, which means class B is hardly flammable, S1 is smoking class, and D is dropping is 0. So in this case, this is the classification. If you classify a straw bale including the plaster. Yeah. Valentina, please.
No, I mean, this BS1D0 is I understand it doesn't have anything to do with the F or R90 minutes resistance. It's two different situations. So one is about the flammability and the other is about the resistance. So you have to comply with both. You cannot switch between one and the other. You have to have the both.
You can. If you look for a facade, for example, then you have the Gesamtsystem. So sorry, I go to the English one.
Yes, if the facade is not structural, yes, you can use the BD as the flammability.
So you can use BD1, yeah?
Instead
because we cannot prove D, so we prove BD1.
This is a characteristic for all insulation materials. You don't have to prove the R19 for insulation materials.
Exactly.
You have to prove it for structural all building components that can suppose a risk for the structure of the building.
Yeah. So, yeah. And if this was the facades again. Okay. So, as far as I know, Friederike Fuchs from Store Unlimited she invented the material plastered straw bale, yeah, like that, and proved that as a material. Similar like Heraclite board, which is bound with magnesit and is proved as A2, I think. So there are burnable materials inside, and there's a mineral binder. It's in this case magnesit, or there are some cement bound. So I think one workaround is to prove the straw bale, which is plastered, at least with an 8 mm plaster, and we would have this certificate PS1D0, and then we would be allowed to build it or to use it in a construction. Is that right, Valentina?
I understand if it is right if the component is not part of the structure.
Yeah. Exactly. So a straw bale is not part of the construction. It's not load bearing. Okay, for load bearing, it's a bit more complicated. Yeah, this is true.
And I think it also applies for not only for load bearing elements, but also for how do you say, separating elements between fire sectors, for example.
Yes.
Or between different uses also.
Yeah.
Hi. Sorry, this is Arnau from Spanish Network 2. I'm architect.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. As Valentina said, at least in Spain, and I think it's more or less the same, there are two things to do with fire, and one is the AE or R19, and the other one is the reaction to the fire. We've got a certification in the French.
He will come back. Okay, he will tell us, and I go on. So there are two studies about these topics made by the university in Germany, and one is the risk index strategy. And this means that usually if material like straw or wood or any other natural material is class E, so combustible, then we need, for example, encapsulation. Encapsulation is usually measured in this K260 proof, so you can do it with two gypsum boards, 15 mm wide, but you can also do it with plaster. So they proved in this study that the same thickness of plaster, so in this case 30 mm of, for example, earth plaster is the same encapsulating class. There is no difference in the fire protection from a earth plaster and from a gypsum board. Both have this crystalline water or crystal water inside and cool down the first 30 minutes, at least the building part, so that you can, if you use that encapsulation with plaster, the plaster strategy from before, and in some cases you might add networked smoke detection, which means that they are connected and that if in one room of a multifamily house, for example, there's a fire, then all the rooms hear that. There are horizontal fire stops, Brandriegel, and there might be sprinkler systems. So with this, they in this study, which I linked in our analysis, they are able to come to a risk-based strategy, yeah. Instead of a 90 minutes fire resistance, you can just say, okay, if I use all these components together, and this is for a single family or for a building class 4, for example, we can use this as a pass. And then it's just about thicknesses of plasters in combination with maybe gypsum fiber boards to encapsulate, or earth or whatever plasters to encapsulate the load-bearing parts, especially the wood in the construction, and maybe in connection with smoke detection and horizontal fire stops and sprinklers. And then we wouldn't need this R90. We could do this with these three, a combination of these three measurements. Another way, a workaround is to have industrial prefabrication, as for example, EcoCocon has it. So you have guaranteed homogeneous density, more than 100 kilo per cubic meter. You have key 260 fire layers, which can be gypsum fire boards. In case of EcoCocon, it also works with 6 centimeter wood fire board or Heklit BM boards as an addition, and they reach even 120 minutes. So you have a certified module which you can use to prove that this can, and you can build even more than building class 4. So the highest building at the moment is 10 stories in Malmö, which they built with this a combination. As far as I know, they used also 10 centimeter CLT boards on the inside of the building to raise the fire safety for this high building. So, and for all these ways, there are studies which we summarized, and the result is a list what you need to prove if you want to build with straw bales. So we have some national straw guides, and what we did is looking what European proofs we have, and then for the single, there are not all the countries, but I motivate you, if you don't find your country in there, then please help us to fill this gap. So for Austria, Germany, we did it for Switzerland, for Portugal, because we were working in Portugal. We know about France, we know about UK, and we also looked how it's in USA, and we looked what EcoCocon has. So in case, for example, in France, the situation is like they have these professional rules, and these rules, if you follow these rules, it's similar, a little bit similar like with the German Strohbaurichtlinie. If you follow the rules, then you are on the safe side, and you can prove that you can build this house according to good practice, let's say. For building class 1, here are again the different numbers. In Austria and Germany, it's quite the same. In Switzerland, it's a bit higher, until 11 meters, for example. In Portugal, it's up to 9 meters, so there are some smaller differences in the building laws, but mainly the same. So building class 1 was never a problem. Building class 2, it's also similar. So you have to prove for the 30 minutes fire resistance. You can the workaround with the free map D method, you have the link here, is encapsulating and the risk index, or you have a plastered straw bale as a material, as a component, and EcoCon has this, and it's also mentioned in the DBU FASPA single burning item test. So this B is 1D0. And we have this the same for building class 3 and the same for building class 4. Mainly. And then we looked about special requirements from the outside. So in case you are, let's say, in a Mediterranean country and you have the risk of forest fires, there are some additional, also for us, some additional requirements for facades, especially what I heard and I talked with Dirk Eberhard in France that this is not a part of the French rules. So it's missing. It's not, at the moment, it's not 100% clear and not proved. And it's similar. I think there is no part for facade wrapping with straw in the German Staubbau-Richtlinie. Next was straw material properties. So we have the ETA for straw. We have it in Austria and we have it in Germany. We can use that as it is a European certificate. We can use it in whole Europe. There is a EPD also in UK, extra one, which you can use in UK if you build there. And there's a test which is valid at the moment from BM Trada, classification for RAI 120, which can be used in UK, but it's not valid as far as I know anymore in rest of Europe as since the Brexit. Sound insulation, there are two proofs mainly, one from the Technical University in Ostrava and one from FASPA. So here we have RW43 decibel, and here we can, if we use a thicker plaster, we come up to 28 decibel with 25 millimeter plastered straw bale walls, or 43 if you have two sides. This is just one side or two sides plastered. Then we get the rated sound sound reduction index of 54 decibel, which is usually enough for intermediate walls. This is just for intermediate walls. Then we have timber material properties. So we might build with Agepan boards. We might build with DHFs from EGA. So this diffusion open middle density fiber boards. We have CLT wood from maybe KLH with a proof. And we have the Heraclit BM proof, and whatever materials you think are missing, which you use, I would motivate you or beg you that you give us whatever materials you use, that we can fill it in this list, even if it's just in one country. Then we have the clay material properties. So what I didn't know until now is that we don't have to prove clay. Clay is automatic in the fire class A. There is a document from the European Union which says we don't need a test for clay. It's automatic in this class, and the encapsulating class of clay is K1 10 and K2 10 according to the European norm, blah, 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 blah. And you have here the certification. Now you are back.
Yeah, sorry. I can let me the video. doesn't go the camera. Just one thing, I have bad connection. First of all, you will pass these things to us to
Yes.
check it.
Yeah.
And just we are now just like trying to finish the Spanish rule, and we are like studying a lot these kind of things. And I'm agree with you are telling that, but when you talk about sound insulation, for example, it depends on if it's flat or it's on edge, the bale. And what I'm realizing that I have been repeating a lot these things you say. No, we have 30 minutes, 90 minutes. I have been reading the test results and what I have seen is I don't have all the information I would like to have because looking in Zotero too, because for example, when we talk about FASBA size, we don't have I haven't find the side with the flat bale, for example. I have studies from FASBA from presentation, but I don't have the original test to reference it correctly, probably in a law. And that happened to me with a lot of essays about fire, about sound insulation, because, for example, for fire, we've got a lot of tests that the test explains you exactly how thick is the plaster and the determination. And if you change any of these things, you are like in not real doing approving the test, no? So when we do like dry walls with cladding, I would like to know if you have more tests about for protection with like Fermacell or like Gypsy plasterboards or things like that, because you say two sides, the 53 sound insulation is, for example, with a flat bale. But
There's
when
no
I
difference
am
between
trying to find the exactly essay, I didn't find it. So I would like to know and ask here, because in Zotero there is missing information, I think, and some essays have disappeared these years, maybe. And some of them they are which ones I have found, it's like from 2005, and they have like 10 years of validity. So in extremely legal issues, yeah, they are not like anymore, and that for me it's okay, no? But I wonder if yeah, ESBA or you that you have studied that can help us, or we help each other, because we are working on that, and I have these problems.
Okay, I will answer, but first, Britta raised her hand. You want to?
Yeah. Sorry, I just had to be away for 10 minutes, so I don't know if I lost anything here. But I was going to mention I did talk to FASBA because I didn't understand how they went from having an R90 certificate to not having any anymore. And they mentioned something that they did a new test that failed. So I spoke to them and they explained to me that the certificate they made years ago, the R90, it was for a specific composition of a wall with the wooden structure, the straw bales, very thick, and some plaster layers, and they would even specify the plaster brand. I think so. It was very specific, and the certificate was just for this very specific composition. So either you had, and then so if you did it in any other way, you would always have to ask for a special permission. No. So what they did is a couple of years later, they asked an independent technical, how do you say, supervisor, or in Spanish we say perito, Gutachter,
Yeah.
to to write a broader scale to say this certificate is all like it's also valid for if you reduce the scale or if you do this and that. So he would like open up a little bit from this initial composition, saying it also works if you have a wider scale between the wood or if you have a little less this or that. So the combination of both then worked a little bit better. And he also said, of course, it doesn't have to be this specific plaster brand. It can also be another plaster as long as it's this and this and this composition. So they opened up. And what they did last year is they said, okay, we're gonna do a new test with only a straw wall in a wooden frame with no plaster, no cladding, nothing. And that one failed, but it only failed like on the upper, like in a vertical joint at 3 meters high in the wall. Okay, so they built a wall rather thin with even with little holes for plugs and stuff. And it only failed after 25 minutes or 27 in this vertical joint, and the rest lasted a lot longer. So I asked them, are you actually gonna like knowing this, like make a new test? Because if you improve a little bit these vertical joints, now that you know that this is the problem, no, maybe you could do another test and that would not fail. And they said, yeah, but at the moment, no, I don't know if they ran out of budget or, but I thought it was interesting because it's so close, no? And knowing where the weak point is,
Yeah.
You could perfectly like make another test and having these vertical joints and these weak points a little better prepared, and then maybe it will pass.
Yeah.
That's good, Britta.
The story.
With regards to this work, we've had questions, or a question from Eileen in the chat, and Arnold asked as well, how will people be able to get hold of the slides or your presentation? How can people see your presentation from today?
So this all will be published as well on the ASBN website as on the ESBA website. What I want at the moment is contribution. I want to reanimate the action group 1 with building standards and look what is maybe missing and where we can contribute or make a test or whatever together, a European test, maybe not in Germany because these are the hardest tests usually. So if you do it in another country and it's still European, and also the Germans could use it, or we, especially in Austria, can accept it. I think there are several ways here with studies, and if you look at the studies and the links in this list, then you will see that there are several workarounds. There is another option, and this is that Maciej Jagierlak from OSBN tested straw bale walls for 120 minutes. And it's not depending on any product. So you can use that. It's European tests. I already translated them to English, but we would need to have a certified or licensed translation for that. But the problem is they oriented on EcoCocon and made it 40 centimeter thick. So this is a bit the problem that we would need 40 centimeter bales, or we just add 6 centimeter or 4 centimeter wood fire boards, which have the similar fire safety as straw, and then we have 40 centimeter walls because in the law it says similar or better. Yeah, so I think it would be possible to have this workaround as well. But what we aim for is a list where somebody who wants to build with straw in Europe, an architect or a self-builder or whatever, just looks up there, looks what is necessary in the country, where are the proofs, and whatever proofs we need to go at least to building class 4, this is what we have to do. And I want to do this year. I want to motivate all the countries who might need those tests or might miss the test from FASPA, the 90 minutes test from FASPA, contribute to that. And if we pay a single burning test, for example, together, and we don't have to make a big test, which costs maybe 20,000. But if there are 9 countries and every country pays 2,000 euro, then we also have it done. So, and there might be a project where we can get funding for that as well with the sustainability program of the European Union. But
Yeah.
this is the path I want to go with that. I want just to add, we have the energy certificate, which is similar for each country, which is mandatory everywhere. These are the standards. We can fulfill it with straw bale walls. We have for load bearing a lot of studies and also tests for load bearing capacity and how much weight you can build. So the tendency is big bales is safe. You can build up to 3 stories. If you have small bales, then you mainly can build 1 story, but you can at least build a straw bale roof on that. And then we have the environmental impact here as the last section. So any kind of EPD, also LCAs are available thanks to the Upstrop project. And also in English there is this extra one. So all this is what is available at the moment. We linked it. It's all documents which are usually which are since long time on the ESBA site under research. I will stop this now. And we just tried to link it and looked what is necessary. And one word to Arnaud, because he said about the sound insulation. So for intermediate wall between 2 flats, for example, in a single or multi-family house. Now I think you might not do this with straw bales because it's quite thick. There are other solutions to do that. But if you want to do it with straw bales, what I know from Dataholzcom and from the Technical University in Ostrava is that it doesn't matter if it's 36 centimeter, if the bales are flat or laid flat or are standing in the construction. And so even if you just would have a flexible layer of, let's say, 20 centimeter or 10 centimeter, it would be enough. It's only depending on the planking, on the finishes. So if you have, for example, 30 millimeter of clay plaster on both sides, you reach any standard which is necessary to make a intermediate wall between 2 flats. And for ceiling, it's usually impact sound insulation, and there are a lot of solutions on Dataholzcom, which are from Baupillogie Institute in Austria, for example, and Energy Institute Vorarlberg. They are all proved, sound-proofed construction systems, which we can use for that. So I think there is no problem for a ceiling and for intermediate wall. If you want to build it, not with Adobe or something else and want to build it with straw bales, which doesn't make sense as an intermediate wall. But anyway, it would be just possible with clay plaster or with sound insulation boards, which are available, and to use the sound insulation
no. I say that I haven't found the essay about what the data you told, 43 or 52. What I know, what I have is like studies from FASBA that they refer about the position of the bale and the centimeters of plaster and what kind of plaster. Not about in Spain, obviously, it's not the same, the sound insulation in a facade from a neighborhood, from the house to house, no? But okay.
Okay.
I could can just say what I read in the studies, and this is, it doesn't matter how thick it is. A two-shell wall naturally is better insulating, but it's mainly the construction. Is there a sound transmission through the construction? Is it a single shell or double shell wall? All this matters in sound insulation, and not about the thickness of the material. And by the way, it doesn't matter if you fill it with rock wool or with straw bale. It's absolutely the same. This is what Data Holzcomb, for example, also says. Yeah. You just need a mass, and this is earth or clay plaster or adobe wall or something like that. And the thicker it is, the better is the sound insulation. And you need a flexible layer in between, but it doesn't matter if it's 36, 50, or 20 or 10 centimeter. And if there is no construction is flexible layer, or the construction is separated with a double shell wall, then you meet all the standards you need for intermediate walls. Any other comments to this? And I will I will invite you to this action group 1, which is usually under the lead of Cyprian, and I want to follow this, and I want to invite you all. I will send you the link to this list. And you will find everything on ESBA website from tomorrow on, all the links I gave you now. And please help us to complete this form so that we can really publish that as a reliable form for every country, especially as we had a participant from Barcelona who was not able to find out what is necessary in Spain. So Spain is missing. But Valentina will help us, or Ricky, or whoever. Yeah.
I think Brita, and when we can contribute with this kind of things because we are doing just now.
Yep.
No, Brita, Valentina, and we are asking for, but we can afford to. But we miss some things, and I have to say we will have a DAP APD from Spain from local bale that is now been approved. So I think Brita, maybe we can be in touch to share with and to put the things we need in Spain. No.
Of course.
And I would these 2 studies I mentioned, and they are linked in this online list. They are very informative and very good. If you don't know them, read them. There are a lot of solutions for workarounds and like that. So, and it's okay. Finished. We come to the next topic, and this is Cyprian.
Yeah, the feedback on the members. So the reports from member countries, as you know, we have 2 distinctive types of membership. We have the member countries, the associations, and we also have the commercial entities, if you like, such as Ecocon and today from Pro Clima. Estonia.
News. So we do workshops and education on all the natural building topics, not only straw. So if we have to zoom in to straw, then small houses, a bit this and that, but mostly, yeah, we deal with all the natural building topics. So not any news right now about straw building. But thank you for. Yeah, I give a word to Spain or where.
Ricky, Ricky, why don't we come back to you? You still there, Ricky?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I wanted to introduce the board of directors of the Spanish network. 3 of the 4 members of the board of directors, I believe, have already intervened in this in this meeting. We have Valentina, Brita, and Arnau. And I'm just going to pass the word over to Valentina, since I'm not as active in in the board of directors in Spain anymore. So, would you like to say anything, Valentina?
Well, nothing that we are reorganizing in the change. There is a lot of administration to check, but it's a beautiful moment because there is the UNE, there is like the reference that is not mandatory as a law, but can be used to make some more proofing in project that is on the way. That started Jose, it was presented on the SBG, but this is going on. And then the very big news that are now already talk about the DAP. There is the declaration of product. There is not an EPD, it's a little bit less, but it works like more or less like an EPD at Spanish level. So we have this problem, but it's a very important topic. Tomorrow, Britta and I will be in this very huge event of prefab, industrialization, innovation in construction in Madrid, where for the first time they arrange a round table about straw bale, where actually there are 4 members of the network, 1 architect, myself as a representative, and then EcoCocon, and Tiziana from Italy. And we will have a debate of 1 hour. This is interesting, and well, I think it's a very incredible moment. I mean, we are in the middle of a super huge shit at the world level. So to me, European straw bale has always been more than also material and product, but just hope for a better future. And I still see, after a long time that I've been out, that it's still like this. So it's, well, this is my pleasure to be here again and to see you. And of course, it's the Latin network that just started, is very slow, but we have 1 member that was working a lot in the Latin network, that is part of the Spanish network. He made some fire tests in Chile. So there will be more news, and I guess that it will be a great opportunity also for the ESBA association in the European framework, of what is happening. So this is it, and well, with a lot of energy to work for this very important step to scale up to the level 4 building fire and all the legal stupid stuff. Well, stupid is not stupid, but it's very important to have it clear so we can do much more. And well, anyway, thank you, and see you again.
Valentina, one more question, or Ricky, is there any news about the step course in Spain?
We decided to finish the step course this year. We're hoping to finish up the practice units. That some people have done the written exam, but they haven't done all of the practice to get the certificate, and we're hoping to finish that up this year. But at the moment, we're stopping that. I just had a conversation last week with Valentina. We're going to see if we can get something similar to the STEP program into the national professional training program to get subsidized training. So we're going to work on start a project to work on that. But we just don't feel that there's enough of a demand in Spain for the course to continue it.
I see Natalie Santa Maria is here from the the network. Is she gone? Is she here? She is here from the Latin American network.
Good afternoon with everyone. Our apology, we didn't realize that we were on the agenda of ESBA of today. But we got inspired on the ESBG 2025, and we started the Latin American Straw Building Network. At the moment, we have gathered 5 countries. We are from Ecuador, Uruguay, Argentina, Chile, and Mexico. We are doing a mapping of the members. We are 50 members at the moment. Also a mapping of the straw buildings on this region. We have a few researchers also involved from universities on these countries. Have publications also, academic research on straw bales, mostly about structural or Nebraska, and also fire thermal measurements also on site. So we would like ESBA to take us into account for the International Straw Bale Building Gathering for 2027.
Thank you, Natalie. Who would be next then? The next members?
Yeah, Sven was gone. So if you want to add something, Sven, to your or answer the last question, if there are any tests on the way, or if you plan to do some tests or some programs, European programs or whatever.
So many nice questions, Herbert. Thank you. Well, so far we have just reused German and Austrian tests results, if anyone has asked. And on workshops, we just show that other countries have done tests, and on ICACOCON website, there's a lot of technical information for architects available. So no one has asked more. And no municipality or city council have also asked anything. So far, so good. And we're not planning to invest on that right now.
Thanks, Sven. Thank you. I suppose next it's the UK. We've got Eileen on the call because straw building, the School of Natural Building have been very active of late. Eileen, was there anything you wanted to bring to the table?
I was just writing in the chat. Sorry, guys, I have to go.
So my timing is perfect.
Perfect, yeah. Well, we're doing the same stuff as we usually do. We're training in Glasgow, London, Todmorden, Southwest. I suppose the new things are that we've added some courses to our sort of repertoire, where we're doing, what are we doing? We're doing retrofit, introduction to cob building, green woodworking. So I suppose what we're doing is we're expanding the offer of training, which is great. And the other thing that I suppose I'm working on is an application for some money to try and do some research about barriers that we face here in the UK, like mortgage lenders have difficulty giving money to straw bale houses, insurers to have difficulty insuring, sometimes architects have difficulty understanding anything about straw and therefore they won't specify. University curricula are very difficult to influence for architects and planners and so on. And developers, really, now that we've had this paradigm shift with straw that we can build with panels, there's nothing to stop developers using straw, but they don't. So we'd like to do a bit of research on all of those areas, all of those sectors, to find out what it is that's worrying them and try and develop some training courses to educate them and to lessen their worry.
Yeah.
I suppose. Yeah.
That's very good. That's much needed. That's much needed. Not that I need to tell you that. You know that already.
Now I'll just say, instead of writing, sorry guys, I have to go. but it was really nice. Nice to see everybody. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Take care, Alan.
Bye. Bye.
And just to add to that, guys, in terms of the UK output, Straw Building UK is very busily gathering or auditing at the moment our contributions towards straw building on the whole. So we have a new membership secretary who is working with us to understand, a bit like what Eileen has just said, understand what are the obstacles and the challenges for people to work out. Matt Davenport has just come on board and he's taking that on board. The book, as you guys know, which was published last year, is very soon to be, so this one, I'm sure you can see it, this one is going to be available online any day now. We're still changing over from our previous treasurer to this one, so it's just a handover process which is taking a little bit longer than we would have liked. And that's it. From SB UK, is there any, from the Netherlands and Belgium, is there any news from that network? Mike?
Or Bert and Dominic?
No, not really that I know of. They're organizing some excursions so here and there, but not really news about them.
I don't think there's anybody here representing Vakgroep Strobouw, as it's called.
No. Okay. Can we go on to the next item on the agenda, which is...
Yeah, ASBN is missing. Just a few words. So, just to tell you, we did again the step course this year. We had up to 11 participants. It was more brain work this time, not so much craftsmanship as in the last years. But it was good. We had a lot of thunderstorms in Portugal as well to cope with. One of the reasons why we did this summary of the analysis of the building classes is that we want to refurbish a house in Vienna according to building class 4, and there we need all these certificates. We will build the attic with straw in Vienna. I'm sure we will build it, and what we will find out how to do that, with the help of this list and with all of your help, most probably. And I'm sure that we can build it next year, the attic. So it's a 4-story house in Vienna, which is row house, multifamily house, everything according to building class 4, and it's more than 7 meters high. Another thing I want to mention is that we are together with Fédération Éco-Construire in France. They made an application for a project called Jump 2 or Jump 2030. So it's a 5-year project where we want to develop the trainer program. There is already, we had this Erasmus Plus project 5 years ago, something, with many countries. So in this case, RCP are partners. There are some partners from Serbia, I think, architects from Serbia, and some other organizations from France. And the goal is to have also as part of this project to have a sort of Amazon store, if I may say that. I don't say McDonald's. This would frighten you most probably, but Amazon, everybody knows the system of Amazon. So what we want to do is, okay, there is a client who wants to build a straw bale house, an architect or a builder who wants to build a straw bale house, and he looks up on ESBA website on a big database which is connected, and he finds the materials which are necessary to build such a house. So he will find the sources for the material. But just by clicking on a link, he will have the prices. He will find all the people who can execute such a house, all the craftsmen, craftswomen who can build that house, or even the trainers who can, in under participation of owner builders, train those people on building sites maybe, or they make a training before. So this all should be connected, and this is part of this Jump 2 project, where we want to establish something like the step course in 8 modules in the next 5 years. This are the news from Austria. There is one more thing we try together. Sally is still here, Sally? Or so maybe he's gone, or so he has some technical problems. So Sally is also a stepper from last year, and we tried to get the step course accepted by university, so that we have these ETCS points, and there the research or analysis from Sally was quite interesting. So we found already some interested universities, thanks to the great work of Sally. I was not so much involved in this analysis, so that the chance that the step course is accepted in Europe as an official course in all the countries by a university is big, and yeah, and there are some also in because Sally comes from Kosovo and has connections to Serbia and to this former ex-Yugoslavian, if I might say that, countries. So we want to also somehow include in our European efforts the countries Kosovo, Bosnia Herzegovina, Serbia, and they are interested. They offer the step course as well. So I think we have soon a new member in maybe Kosovo, Bosnia, or something like that. The language room is similar. They understand each other. So, and they want to translate the step course and offer that as well in Eastern Europe, let's say it like that. Yeah, these are the news from Austria.
Brilliant. Thank you, Herbert. Mike, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, good evening, everybody. I'm very pleased to be here to represent Working Group 7, which is the working group on Ukraine. For those of you who don't know, we created the Alliance for Bio-Based Construction in Ukraine. It's a team of 16 individuals, of which 6 are steppers. Eileen is on the board, and we have 5 Ukrainians in our team, 2 of whom have built over 150 straw bale houses in Ukraine before the war. Obviously, the war has had a detrimental effect on all construction, but especially straw bale construction. One of our key players, Artem, has moved to Prague, where he has set up his company Svarog, and they're making straw bale panels and building straw bale houses in Czechia. We're in touch with a lot of people in Ukraine, and one of our main interests was the town of Apostolova, which is on the Dnipro River in the east of Ukraine, and they've asked us to build a trauma center for their war veterans who have come out of the operating theatre and need time to relax. And we've convinced them that a straw bale building is what they really need in terms of health, comfort, and sound insulation. So our chief architect put together a proposal, and I would like to present that to you. Can I share this? Yeah. Oops.
Yeah. Coming.
Let me go back. So this is okay. So this is the introduction. This is the cover page. There's a lot of information. It's in two languages. Obviously, it's in Ukrainian and in English. Apostolovi, if you look at the top left map there, you see that it's over in the east and very close to the front line. This is the layout of the hospital grounds where we've been asked to build. And this is what we've proposing, 2 buildings for trauma patients. The building on the top left there is the existing hospital, and so we'll be right on their grounds. We've looked at it from all angles. It's got to look like a good building, but at the same time, it's got to fit in with the existing infrastructure, not look too different. The idea is that we will have 4 double bedrooms for the patients, each with an ensuite bathroom. The room on the right here is wheelchair accessible. There will be a common space at the bottom, a large industrial kitchen, a physiotherapy room and a television room, and a large balcony because they get a lot of sun in the summer. We've looked into the various times of year and how the sunshine will affect the building, and this is a simulation of what it would look like. We are building 2 buildings. We've agreed that 1 building will be built using Modulina panels because they are part of the organization we work with, and Svarog because Artem is part of our team. I'm going to see which of the 2 we're going to be able to compare the 2 in terms of price, quality, deliverability, and so on. So this is kind of what it's going to look like when it's being built. And this is what it's going to look like when it's finished. Unfortunately, there are problems with the Apostolovi City Council, and this project is now on hold. So my co-chairman, Hans Schul, and I were in Kyiv 2 weeks ago, where we attended the opening of the Bucha classroom. You've probably heard of Bucha. The Lithuanian government sponsored the building of a classroom using Modulina straw bale panels, and this was opened with great ceremony at the end of January. The end of February. And we are in touch with the Bucha City Council to see if we can offer to extend their school, not just from 1 classroom, now that they're enjoying the benefits of that. So Bucha is one of our potential locations. We're also looking at Chortkiv and Kopchinci, places you never heard of, Chernivtsi down in the south near the Romanian border, as well as Apostolovi, which we hope will come back. So that is what we're doing. But in addition to that, we have always said that we're not going to go over there and build straw bale houses. We're going to go over there and use Herbert's technique of giving workshops and getting the veterans and the local people to build their own buildings with the help of courses. So we have Vesco and Simone as our trainers who are prepared to go out to Apostolovi or wherever and give training and help to build whatever buildings, municipal buildings they require, whether that is schools or hospitals or accommodation for their internally displaced people. There is an enormous demand for accommodation, as you can understand. They need over 2 million homes, as well as offices, hospitals, factories, schools, and so on. The potential is enormous. Ukraine produces 80 million tons of straw per year. If you reckon on 10 tons per house, that's 8 million houses per year. They have the materials, and what we're also promoting is that women should be involved in the construction, not normal in Ukraine, but because there are a shortage of men, unfortunately. There are a lot of women around, and we want to show that women are perfectly capable of building straw bale houses as anybody. Our main challenges at the moment, one is finding a location and a municipality to work with, and the other, of course, is funding. That is what we're doing in Ukraine. If anybody is interested in joining us or helping us or contributing, please PM me. My email address is in the chat. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you very much. Yes, guys, this presents itself as a wonderful opportunity to get involved in something that's really more than noble. You know, we're all very mindful as to what's happening in the world today. And as Mike pointed out earlier, they approached us. So it's not a case of ESBA going out looking to take advantage of scenarios and situations. They came to us to ask for our help, and Mike has picked up the baton, so to speak, and is running with it. His group is Action Group 7. The group that Herbert was referring to earlier was Action Group 1. And there are a number of other action groups that you can be a part of and join. Just so you know that we have somebody now at ESBA who is coordinating those action groups. She's on the call tonight. I'm not going to ask her to speak. I don't want to put her on the spot, but she is going to take on board this work to coordinate what's going on with our action groups. So please, I've put the link in the chat. Look at that link and go to the form. Whatever type of work it is that you feel you have the expertise, you have the technical information, and you want to get involved with whatever group it is you want to get involved with, do so. Thank you very much, Mike. That was a really good presentation. Really appreciate that. Is there anything else from our associate members? Do we have any associate members on the call today? No? Okay, so Herbert, is there anything that I've missed out that you feel we ought to draw this meeting to a close to?
No. If somebody wants to add news or whatever we can publish here, speak now or never.
Exactly.
Are there any news from the steppers maybe they want to tell us, or?
No. I've noticed Judith Thornton, sorry. Judith Thornton is on the call. I don't know if she's if her mic is off. Judith, was there anything you wanted to say?
Hello.
Hello, Judith.
Sorry.
You've got a study which you're undertaking. Was there anything you wanted to bring to?
Just to introduce myself, I guess. Judith Thornton, Aberystwyth University. So that's halfway up the left-hand side of Wales. Is where Aberystwyth is. Been doing a study on the monitoring the moisture content of straw bale walls. Studied about 30 buildings so far. Going to do another 3 or 4, and then do some data analysis. So, I mean, basically, we all know straw's great as long as it's kept dry, but nobody ever actually measures whether it's dry or not, it seems.
Yes.
So it's a particularly obvious study that needs to be done, and sort of studying buildings in a wet country like Wales seems like a reasonable thing to do. So no data, no results on that as yet, but we'll be publishing it at some point later in the year when I've done a whole load of analysis.
Can I share the link to your call out in the chat?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I guess from the European perspective, I guess the interesting thing really would be to discuss doing similar stuff in other countries. So to do some sort of comparative studies.
Okay.
So that would be that would be the particular interest, I think, for this audience.
Okay. Well, I'll share what you shared with SB UK. And
Judith, could I ask, Judith, are you working with CAT on this?
I used to work at CAT, and I have monitored one of their buildings. So it's with the university.
Excellent. Okay, thank you, Judith. Was there anything else from anyone else?
You will know the ESBA database, Judith. And so there is a lot of research about already done. But you most probably know it. I just want to mention that there is a big research database, and whenever you have a new research paper, we can also publish it there. Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay, that's it, isn't it? That's all she wrote. Yeah. Nothing from no one else. Just one final thing was that I attended a meeting for Horizon Europe a few weeks ago. I'm looking at some funding for ESBA regarding the new European Bauhaus. It will be opening up in May, but it's something that the board needs to look at before I put it out to the members. But it is promising. It is really promising. So let's keep our hearts and eyes and ears open to what comes forward in the very near future. Okay. So I'm going to say good night and say thank you all very much. Thank you.
Hold on. You didn't give us any news on the next ESBG in France. Wasn't that on the list?
I'm so glad you're awake. Okay, so guys, this is quite an important one. Thank you, Ricky. So we over the past few months have been looking at the detail regarding the next ESBG in 2027. 2025 is when we had a wonderful event in Barcelona. 2027 is going to be in France. We've come across a challenge at the moment, which is partly that, well, the French are still going to host it. That 100% is going to happen. Charlotte can't be here tonight, and that's because she is in a meeting happening at the same time in France about the event. The venue that we were going to have the event at, we can't hold it there because, if I'm honest, it was going to cost us way too much. So she and her partners at RFCP are looking to change the venue and to give us more positive news in the future. And they're also looking at restructuring how we have the event. So it's going to be an international event, as we've said. That 100% is going to happen, but the French will be having a couple of days which will be hosting their own artifacts and their own information, essentially. But there will be translation across the board, okay, English translation, so that we can understand what's going on. But yes, it is moving at a rapid pace, and there's too much to say, but I can't say. Not because I don't want to, but because it's changing. So watch this space. Thank you, Ricky, for that reminder. Watch this space. It is very important because once we announce it, you guys will want to be there, and we don't want you to miss out. Okay. I think that's it. I think that's all for tonight. Thank you all very much for attending and for sticking around. I appreciate it's long in the night in Europe. It's coming to 7 o'clock over here in the UK. Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Herbert, Mike, Ricky, Arno, and welcome, Pro Clima, to ESBA. We will be in touch with you guys in the very near future as to where we develop and move on from now on.
Thank you very much.
I think that's it. We can close and say good night. Yes?
Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Good night.